everybody, Jeff here from JazzWire. Welcome to the guided listening this week. We're going to be checking out a Horace Silver tune, a really, really cool one off the album Cape Verdean Blues, and this is called Nutville, an amazing band. So 3 horns. It is J.J. Johnson on trombone, Joe Henderson on tenor sax, Woody Shaw on trumpet. Geez, okay, that's pretty good. And Horace Silver on piano, Roger Humphreys on the drums, and Bob Cranshaw on bass. Pretty sure it's Bob Cranshaw. 67? Something like that. This was the album that came out after the very famous Song for My Father album, Nutville. And so it's sort of a extended minor blues. It's a twice as long minor blues in the key of C. So we'll get into it. There's some cool arranging orchestration for us to talk about for a second too. And after I revisited this song, it just popped into my head. I thought to myself, whoa, this is a tune we need to be doing at the summer summits that are coming up this summer. So I haven't decided, but we're going to do this in two of the summits coming up. So in June, we have this adult workshop for adult students. So 3 days long in Edmonton, Canada, and it's coming up in June. And we have a faculty made up of all Canadian musicians. It's going to be amazing. Made in Canada workshop. That's pretty cool. Then in mid-July, we have the Twin Cities Summit Workshop. We've got some terrific sponsors, Schmidt Music in town, one of the really big retailers. We are offering continuing education credits through the University of Minnesota to educators who attend. Middle school, high school, band, choir directors, you get credit from the University of Minnesota because we are now affiliated with them. Amazing. And then in DC, at the end of July, 5-day workshop, our flagship. And so we're definitely doing this at this tune at the DC Summer Summit. So I hope we'll have you with us. So be thinking, be making some plans, be saving a little bit of money, and let's work together and do a bunch of playing. So let's jump into this really quickly. I'll probably stop it, talk about a couple things, and then we'll go for it. This is called Nutville. Melody. What the heck is that sound? That crunchy, angular, like, whoa, pretty in your face, right? So first of all, a pretty intense tempo, 290 or so, like it's blazing along. That really intense, Latin straight eighth feel that Roger Humphreys is giving, that bass line, which is essentially the 3 part of the 3-2 clave. We could think of it as it's like the tumbao bass line. If we add 1, boo da 1, do ga, do da, do ga. So there are so many places that bass line comes from. I'm not actually expert in telling you which it is. Is it the Charleston with an extra note at the end? Is it the tumbao with an extra note at the beginning? Is it the clave with the other part left off? Someone out there knows the answer, and of course, we're making an educated guess when we say, but it's a classic bass line, right? So that voicing between the 3 horns, you heard the whole melody one time, and it's fascinating because Horace Silver is using a parallel voicing. Very often when we voice meaning to assign notes to 3 different horn players, or to 15 horn players in a big band, or to 65 people in a symphony orchestra. Got to decide who's taking which notes, right? And very often when there's a melody that gets harmonized, the chords change as we go along. It's not the same voicing. It's not the same arrangement of notes from here to here, do, da, do, da. Very often they change to keep things kind of consonant and to give different emotion. So now what Horace did is used a parallel sound. He had his melody note, his note under it is a third, and the note under that is a half step. it's in a way, it's easy to do parallel voicings. Parallel means nothing changes. Whatever the melody note is, you use that recipe. And now it doesn't always come out sounding great, but it's a very quote unquote modern sort of sound. And so that's what we're hearing here. So there's every single note of the melody has a clash to it, except for when we get 8 from the end and it goes into swing, and maybe you heard the tenor and the trombone play a chord and Woody Shaw on trumpet plays the melody. So at that moment, the tension gets released for 4 measures, and then we're back into it. So that's a little bit about the arrangement, who does what when, arranging. And then orchestration is, now that I've decided I want all the horns playing the melody, who's doing which part and what is their relation to each other. So arranging and orchestration are closely related, but they're also, different studies too. They're different techniques, different skills. But an arranger generally has to do some orchestration. An orchestrator may be given the arrangement. Here is the arrangement. Here's the composition. Here's the arrangement. Now orchestrate this. That happens all the time too. It's very interesting, very interesting. Let's take this thing from the top. Here we go. So quick little intro, just 4 measures. So do you hear all those half steps, all that rub? And here's a slight release. The other release is that we went into swing there, right? We have this Latin feel. Latin. And now the harmony changes and the feel changes. And a little break there. All right, solos. You notice the bass is staying with that same written bass line. Swing. And a break. So it's just like in the melody. Horace Silver was renowned and famous for firing bass players who stopped playing his written bass line. If you got a bass gig with Horace, play whatever he wrote all night long. Don't get creative with it. You're gone. You're gone. And so that's what we hear on this track. Oh, cool. Trumpet and tenor playing a background as if we're in a big band. Nice. So those chords, when it goes to swing, are descending chromatic chords. It's interesting to hear how all the soloists address those descending chords. Pretty much every time, Curtis plays the same thing on each chord, and he transposes it. It's kind of cool. Great approach. Woody Shaw, man. So Woody is more playing through those changes. He's nailing them. Oh, great side slipping lick there. So Woody isn't playing the same idea and transposing it. He's doing a more complicated thing, I'd say. Okay, he actually did transpose those first two. Let's listen to this stuff. So now that I'm hearing it again, maybe he kind of transposes the first 2 chords a little bit and then true composes from there. Kind of a hybrid approach. Joe Henderson. Man, so motivic. Jeez. You hear how he's transposing? Boo-doo-da, boo-doo-da. here 4 times in a row. Cool. There's our background again. Nice touch. Whew. Lots of Joe Henderson language there. So kind of a hybrid. I could hear a connection between those chords, but not exact transposition. Have you noticed how in Joe's solo, at the beginning of each chorus, he shows up sort of with an idea that much of the time he then sort of develops for the next 8 or 12 measures. He didn't do it every chorus, but he did it a number of times. Kind of cool. So nice change of texture, right? It's not so much so loud. It's a trio. It's been a quartet or more the whole time, right? So yes, we're down to a trio. And so we hear a lot of repetition, motivic development in Horace's solo. And we hear that in many of his solos, that he's soloing like a composer, which he is. All right, so a different background for Horace than for the horn solos. And so, okay, so that's kind of cool. He did a repeated thing, but he displaced it in time a little bit. So like, he had a different solution from what we've heard before. Now he used the voicing, and I heard him moving through those chords, those chromatic chords. Speaking of motivic, that was so slick. Roger Humphries, when it went to the swing portion of the form, he's thinking the form. He's not a drummer. This guy's a musician, right? And so when it went to swing, he didn't go to swing, but he changed what he was talking about. Fantastic. So now he's playing through the form, and I've yacked over top of it, so we kind of lost where he is in the form. But intro. Parallel voicings. The same relation of the 3 voices all the way through. And I said it's a blues. So this is our 1 chord, a minor blues. 1 chord, 4 chord, to a 1 chord. And now here's our turnaround. And little coda. Man, they made that sound pretty easy, didn't they? That's not so easy. Like that intricate, thick drum part that Roger Humphries was playing, but it was so light and buoyant and never felt like the density of what he was playing was pulling things back. And that bass line, that was one of the things that allowed Roger Humphries to be playing so thick, if that's, the way to put it, with such density, is that knowing where that bass line was always going to be and how that propelled things forward. Really, really important. That's why we call the bass the foundation, right? And 4 fantastic melodic solos. We had trombone, tenor sax, or trombone, trumpet, tenor sax, piano, I guess in that order, and then a great drum solo too. So you could tell I was keying in on those chromatic chords. So I could have keyed in on any number of things in that solo. For me as a player, I know things to do on the 1 chord and the 4 chord, and trust me, I'm going to be stealing some of this stuff for sure. I'm going to be transcribing some of it. But those descending chromatic chords are problematic for a novice or intermediate player, for sure, and interesting, as we get better and better. So I was sort of keying into that. So you've heard me say many times, if you've been watching this channel, I don't have perfect pitch. I don't know that I have great relative pitch, but I can tell shapes. You know, I can tell a bunch of squares, and when somebody throws a circle in there, like I can tell that. So if I hear ba boo ba doo doo ba doo ba doo doo ba doo ba doo doo ba, so I can, you know, I guess I can hear those are descending half steps. But even if I can't tell, are they half steps or whole steps? The changes are descending, and their line is descending, and the line sounds similar from measure to measure. I can make some really educated guesses, and you can do this too. So if you know that you can hear when something goes up or down, that's what you need. You're good, right? If you can hear an idea being more or less repeated, it might be rhythmic repeated, or it might be the shape of the melody. This is the kind of stuff where you can do really deep listening and not have a piano around or your instrument to sort of check the notes. That's great. You can get into transcribing. But if you listen to this song 5, 6, 8, 15 times, you already have a sense of what's coming up. You have been transcribing, and now you do the specifics of, let me learn these notes or these rhythms. So, you know, a lot we can get done before we actually get into that, you know, the nasty and wonderful work of transcribing. So hopefully you picked up some cool things there talking about Horace Silver's arrangement. I'll say the song is actually exceedingly simple. The boop boop ba ba da ba da, boop boop ba ba da ba da. Like, it's kind of nothing to it. It's a minor pentatonic. It's not the most intricate thing ever. The arrangement, the orchestration, just put it on this whole other memorable level, right? So the strength and power of a great arrangement or great orchestration. Now, had it been a really complicated tune, that orchestration probably wouldn't have worked. It needs a simpler, more sparse tune to let those crunchy voicings make sense. If we put all those voicings onto Charlie Parker's Confirmation, it would be too thick. It would sound like a mess, I imagine. So great arranging, orchestration, composition, all coming together to really serve and make a song that has a true personality. So hope you enjoyed that. And man, I would love to work with you on this tune in person. Edmonton, Canada, Minneapolis, St. Paul, Twin Cities Summit, and then here in the DC area coming up this summer. So please check out the website. You can get to all 3 summits from sort of the overall website, and you can click into each one and see what's what. So yeah, hope we'll be working together this summer. Fantastic faculty at all 3. All right, everybody, take care. Have a great week.